Good morning, 104.7 The Drive. We're over here living the good life. It is Community Corner here on this Thursday, and I am blessed to be joined by fellow Ram fam, Dream, Create, Inspire Tour, Wayne Watts and Destiny Hardney. Welcome. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, so you guys are the co-founders
Yes.
of Dream, Create, Inspire Tour. Tell us a little bit about what Dream, Create, Inspire Tour is.
Yeah, so we're an organization that really focuses and specializes in workshops, community events, and performances that are all rooted in collective healing and liberation. So we are really just trying to build up our community, really trying to hold space for people to heal together, to be together, and really just feel good together. So we do things on a monthly basis that are for the community, but we also partner with different organizations to bring music and bring healing to whatever space wants us there and allows us to be there. And we actually started as a tour in 2018. So we were really just not even knowing we wanted to be an organization. We just wanted to go on tour. We wanted to bring artists with us. We wanted to meet artists in different cities. And we did a Kickstarter and raised over $15,000 and we went on a tour. And when we came back, people were just asking for programming. They were asking for events. They were asking for workshops. And so we decided to become an organization, and that's where our name came from, because it was the Dream, Create, Inspire Tour. Mm-hmm. And so now that's who we are, and that's where we do our work and how we do our work throughout our community.
And what was like the impetus? What was that spark that was like, oh, we got to do this?
I think it was, like she said, the response of artists, and then wanting to make something that artists didn't have to perform for people, but with people. Mm-hmm. Like, we're really into, like, hey, we're not performing for you. Like, we're performing with you. Yeah. So having that community and that safe space for us to really, like, tap into mindfulness. So I think we do meditation and we do mindfulness activities in the beginning of it, and they all go into the creative process. So when artists started coming, they were like, man, look, I felt good coming here. This didn't feel like a gig. Mm-hmm. So, like, being able to continue doing programming and evolving our programming and based off of the needs of the artists that we represent and we work with.
And that's so important, because a lot of times when art is also how you get paid, it's so hard to keep that creativity exciting and fulfilling, because now it's a job. So is that why the mindfulness piece came in? Like, why is that part so important?
That's a big part of it. And I think kind of in our beginning stages, what we brought was, like, Wayne is a musician. We were both educators when I was very much in the healing space. And that's where we met in the middle. And we were hearing a lot from musicians like, oh, when you do a meditation before our show, I feel less stage fright. Or when you do a meditation at one of our events and you do it in a way that's accessible, it doesn't feel like something that I have to practice before I come, then I feel like I'm a part of this community. I feel like I can do this with other people. And so we've been listening and we've been learning along the journey, and just we are more intentional now, because I think we've always known, like, music is healing in itself. Mm-hmm. So if we're more intentional with it, and if we put these practices in place that we know have worked for us and we see other people leaning into and wanting more and more of, we've really decided, like, this is a part of our program. It's not just something that I do and I'll invite people to come into it. It's like, no, we're all doing this together, and we all get to learn how to do it together, because it's always going to be a journey of healing.
Right. So you said you started in 2018. Mm-hmm. How did the pandemic affect your work?
So what's crazy is, like, when it happened, we were like, we were actually slated to go to South by Southwest.
Yeah,
so
that weekend.
We were literally headed to, and when South by Southwest shut down, it was like, and I remember being at a busy restaurant. Mm-hmm. Our daughter was there in the stroller, and we're like, what just happened? And it was like, all I remember is, like, tomorrow is going to be a lot of work, right? Yeah. But honestly, it grew, because when it went into the digital spaces, we got really creative. We partnered up, shout out to Nightlights Denver. We partnered up with them to launch a By Any Dream Necessary visual mixtape. So in social distance spaces. We took over the clock tower right here, Daniel and Fisher's clock tower, and we showed Black and brown artists from Denver, and then we started branching out and showing all across the country. We had social distance open mics. We did programming on Discord, workshops, virtual workshops. We did. We partnered with different organizations like Soundtrap to be able to provide like free virtual studio space for students as well too. So the pandemic actually kept us connected to the other cities in a different way.
That's awesome.
And it was a big deal because we were able to still pay people because they weren't being paid for gigs. We can pay them to be in our mixtapes. We can pay them to be in our virtual workshops because we really want to make sure musicians are compensated and are making living wages. So that's a big deal for us. So that time was a way for us to show we can adjust in any landscape.
So when an artist gets connected with Dream, Create, Inspire Tour, like what is their experience?
Oh man, I think like they get a chance to tap back into why they did music for the first time. And what's cool about it is we started this initiative this year called Dream Flow. And Dream Flow is really a creative small business meetup. We do songwriting in it, but it connects all different creatives. So you'll have like a tattoo artist, you'll have a mom and pop clothing store, and you'll have a singer-songwriter and a rapper and a bass player. But in that, they all get the chance to tap into like that childlike curiosity and create things together. So it's really like economic development working by way of tapping into your inner child again. So they get a chance to feel like, oh man, this was fun. Like I didn't have to come here with something. I didn't have to have the front, as an artist, you got to do a lot of different things. You got to come and navigate spaces, being able to just be themselves and feel lighter so that they're able to tap into their craft and what they love easier. So, yeah.
You mentioned something earlier about liberation. How is art tied to liberation for you?
So a lot of times when people ask me this or ask me something related to this, I refer back to a moment when I was listening to Angela Davis talk, and she was in Colorado Springs. And a lot of students were asking her questions about like, oh, we're having this issue, what should we do on campus? And she said, ask an artist. And the reason she said that was because she said, we've been trying as intellectuals, we've been trying as professionals, we've been trying to solve all these issues, and we're not creative enough about it. It hasn't been working. So we need to ask somebody who's going to be creative, who's going to think outside of the box, who isn't going to give us something that we think is going to work. And I think in our work, that's what we're doing, is we're listening. We're listening to youth. We want youth voices as much as possible. We want creative solutions. We're talking about identity. We're talking about our experiences. We're talking about everything in these sessions. And we don't want it to be the same what we read in a book solution. Like, how are we going to show up for each other regardless of what's going on in our political landscape, regardless of what's going on in the economy? How do we show up for ourselves and do it in a creative way that is going to make us feel good and be good to each other? So I think that's what real liberation feels like and looks like. And it's a radical way of doing it and a radical way of thinking. It's like, we're not going to do it the same way that we're told to do it, in the way that people have been doing it.
Yeah.
And I'm going to hop in right there just because I got to say this right here. So rest in peace to the legend Nikki Giovanni, a master guru, master teacher. But Nikki Giovanni's work is liberation, right? So like black wealth, ego tripping, these are ways that you tap in. So being able to learn from the legends and now who's the now ancestor and being able to use those principles and use it with the technology of today is limitless, and it's also liberation.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, this is Community Corner. We are talking with Wayne Watts and Destiny Hardney of Dream, Create, Inspire Tour. Can you talk about some of the artists you've worked with? And then I want to know if you have a story of like how you've seen one or some of them, like the growth, the evolution, while
dope.
Being part of Dream, Create, Inspire Tour.
Yeah. You start.
Oh man, shout out to Detroit, Heleno, Rose, Asha Renee, Nello, Amani, Powerpuff Imani, DJ Sin. Man, and if I didn't mention your name, don't beat me up. It's in the morning time.
It's a lot.
Kenya, Uche, Virgil. So we work with a lot of artists in multiple cities. If I were to say an artist grow? Who would you want to like? Because they grow in different ways, right? Like I think of some artists who come in. So I take like let's say a Marcy, who I would say grew in the sense of feeling comfortable being around artists and then created a venture.
Yeah.
As a result of it, an educational venture. Shout out to Moonshot, did that as well too. But if you,
I would also say Virgil. So Virgil, when we met him, it was in an education program. Like I said, we were both educators, and he got a kind of a glimpse of what we were doing in the community events and things, and he was like, I want to write music, but I don't know how. And he was so hesitant. He would just come to work and he would show me songs, but he wouldn't share them with anyone else. He's dropping songs like every month right now. He's performing all the time. He's so confident. He comes to our events and just like on the spot, he'll just come up with lyrics. He'll come up with melodies. And I've just seen such a huge growth from the time I met him when he was a teenager till his early 20s. And he's just doing it. And it's like you got everything that you need. And I think when the artists see that and learn like you got everything that you need and you got people around you willing to support it, they just go.
Yeah, that's so important. Okay, so how can artists and community members get involved with Dream, Create, Inspire Tour? Where can they find you? Where can they keep up with you?
Yeah, so the easiest way is either through our website or social media. So DCI Tour is the best way to find us on Instagram, on Facebook, on TikTok, and as well as our website is dcitour.com. If they just send us a DM, send us a message on our website, it comes straight to the two of us, and we reach out and see how they want to work with us.
Awesome. Okay, you brought a song that was created as part of Dream, Create, Inspire Tour.
As a Dream Flow.
Yes.
Dream
Can
Flow.
you tell us a little bit about this before we put it on?
Yeah, so we went up to a studio called Blue Marble Studio in Loveland, and it's a studio that is enabled with Dolby Atmos. If you don't know what that is, Google it because it's real dope. And we were able to do an immersive meditation experience, and from that experience, everyone contributed to a song. So they contributed words, feelings, lyrics, melody. We had musicians in the space. We had poets in the space. We had just community who wanted to be in there. And they came together and they created this unique demo together, and Blue Marble Studio mixed it for us, and it's amazing and beautiful.
And the theme of it really was, if you're in the car and you're driving, what is your inner voice saying? So that was the meditation that we led with. So thank you so much. Shout out to all the artists that were a part of that. Shout out to the community members that were a part of that as well, too.
That's awesome. This has been Dream, Create, Inspire Tour. Wayne Watts and Destiny Hardney, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
I feel very inspired.
Hey, you got to pull up to one of our sessions for real. Yeah.